There are moments in our lives as an older woman where we know we've changed. Sometimes the moments are very gentle and gradual. Other times the changes and moments are very dramatic and life-wrenching. And I want to talk to you today about how to embrace this new identity, how to reinvent yourself in a transition time, which is really very dramatic and sometimes emotional. My name is Margaret Manning. I'm with 60andMe, and I want to thank you for being here. So many women in our 60andMe community talk about this challenge they have with the new identity, the new person they've become. And I've got some ideas for you. Now, our show today is brought to you by International Living. International Living is a company that is dealing with helping women and men retire overseas. It's they have a conversation about the questions that you may have when you're thinking about just taking on a different lifestyle as a part of this new identity, that you are looking for somewhere new to live. And they've got lots of great resources. Check out their website, internationalliving.com/60andme, and they'll send you a copy of their latest report. They've got lots of different things for you to consider. So this conversation about new identity, I think is really a powerful one. We sometimes, gradually sort of emerge into our 60s and we just suddenly realize, I look different. I feel different. I'm not working. I'm not married. I'm not a mom anymore in the sort of sense with young children. And it's just sometimes, wow, how did that happen? But then sometimes things happen that are so dramatic and so unexpected, perhaps random, that we just sort of, we know we've got to make some changes. Now, Mary Lou Harris is one of our bloggers, and she wrote this article about this new identity and reinventing yourself. And I really want to thank her for this because she gives us some good pointers about where we can expect this transition and this realization that we're not the same person anymore. We're different. That where it can happen. Now, if you've lived to be 60 and beyond, then you know that you've changed. You look in the mirror, you have wrinkles, your hair is changing color, your skin tone is shifting, everything about you physically is changing, and then inside is changing. You don't want so much stuff. You're looking for experience in your life rather than more things. You know now that the context for nurturing may not be a child or, young people. It may just be that you've got to nurture in different ways, volunteering or in your own life. And you've got to accept the truth that you are just thinking now about things related to the 30 or so years ahead of you rather than the 60 years behind you. And that can be dramatic and a little bit scary. But we can do this. And I think that what she talks about is that, first of all, kind of reflect on where did this reinvention happen for you, or this realization that you've changed. Was it that you had a certain context, a certain stereotype about being 60, that you would, you just move from one stage to the next and suddenly, you were let go from your job, or you started to realize that you were not so visible or so relevant anymore? Is it something that, as a young child, you always thought you would be and then you're not? Or maybe you were divorced and you always thought you'd be married. You always thought that you would have a partner in your life. But then it was like, no, this is a new me. This is a woman on her own. This is a woman, dealing with life by herself. Did you get an opportunity for a reinvention by moving? A lot of women are doing this, and International Living we talked about is actually looking to help you retire overseas. A lot of women are moving from the places that they have spent most of their life, and that opportunity for reinvention comes because you have to, because you're in a new city, new town, new country, and needing to cope with all both the practical things and also the emotion, making new friends, finding new love. It's just that can be a dramatic moment. Again, was it in adulthood where you had a divorce? And a lot of people are getting divorced in their 60s, realizing that, maybe that marriage was not perfect, or even it was just not even good for you. And so making a move towards reinvention purposefully, and sometimes divorce can be very traumatic for many, many years. And I know from conversations, it's hard, and certainly was for me. So it could be that you discover your new self when you have a financial crisis. Now, this can be really dramatic. And a lot of women lost money in the 2008 crash. It sounds like a long time ago, but it was only 12 years ago. And that was a time of great reinvention. People moved from a big house into a smaller place, or even lost their house and had to, relocate somewhere they didn't even perhaps want to go. And again, had to start over. And another thing, of course, is, was it the death of a family member? Was it the loss of your parents or a parent? That can be so dramatic and shift you from being the child, the daughter, to the woman on her own. And that can really require a lot of shifting and changes. I mentioned earlier, could it be that your job changed and that gave you a new perspective and a freedom? It gave you an opportunity to say, I did that for 30 years and that was like, it was okay, but I'm going to do this new business. I'm going to start something new. And with that comes a reinvention. And with that, that comes a whole new style, a new language. And so that's another thing that can happen. Was it when, Mary Lou goes through some really interesting ones here, was it when you learned a family secret? I don't know whether that's something that happened to her, because it's such in a way, kind of a random comment, but I think it's interesting. Did you learn a family secret? Did you have an idea about your family that turned out not to be true? Or someone in the family? I think that's a really, really powerful, it's just a knowledge. I guess that's the bigger issue, is that you gain knowledge about something in your life that you didn't expect. And so it causes you to have to reassess who you are. And I know people have had tragedies in their life and they've just, totally changed because they just thought, gosh, if I can deal with that, I'm going to be myself. I don't care. I can't be something for anybody else anymore. I'm just going to be me. And that's what this is all about, really. It's not really reinvention, it's recreation. It's recreating who you really are. So I think it's a powerful thing. Was it when your relationship with people changed, when you realized the toxic relationships in your life were just not doing you any good, and that it was time to let go of them and be yourself again, to go back to, living a life on your own terms, not to please someone else or to be part of a group or be, considered accepted. You just were willing to just go for it. The pain of not releasing yourself was more than just doing it. Another thing was when your children leave home. This can be a big, big one for women who maybe don't have a very strong relationship with their children, because when they're in the house, even if there's not a bonding and a relationship, you are there together. But when they go, if there's any sort of tension or, just not getting on very well, they can become estranged really fast. And that means they don't call you for 5 years. And that is heartbreaking. Even if it wasn't a good relationship, you want to fix it. You want to make it better. But that's part of the reinvention that can happen. Sometimes it has to be on your own. And we've got several writers at 60andMe who have written about being estranged from your children and grandchildren. And I encourage you to watch some of those videos and articles there. I know this is a big issue for many women in our community. Was it on a trip or a journey? Did you go somewhere and just sitting there somewhere in a new place think, this is what I want? I don't want to go back to that. Not necessarily the place, although it could be the place, but it's like, I'm free here. I can relax. I can dance. I can sing. I can be me. I can be the real me that in my 60s and 70s, 80s, I want to be. So a trip or journey can really help make that shift for you, to draw the line in the sand. I'm changing. I'm new. Another one, when you start to embrace aging. Yes, this is the one. Because I was 59 for 4 years. I've said that openly, I admit it. I did not want to be 60. And in fact, it's why I started 60andMe. It's like, okay, I've got to own up. And it turned out that there were surprisingly lots of women on the journey with me. So it's been a lot of fun. But that probably for me was one of the biggest shifts, where I was able to reinvent and rediscover myself. So whether it comes from inside as something that you just gradually accept and notice, or something that dramatically happens to you or with you or around you, it's all the same. It's a change. It's a new you. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to have 60andMe and places like this to amplify that shift, and have support, have people around you who care and on the journey too. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So I want to just remind you that please be there for each other. 60andMe has got lots of things that I wanted to mention. We've got lots of things that help you. Our Aging Beautifully cards are one thing. I don't know whether you've seen these before, but it's a deck of 46 cards, and I love these cards. They're so pretty visually. If I can turn around and show you some of the pictures. They're just gorgeous. They're just bright, and I've got them mixed up here, but they're gorgeous. And on the back, they've got a paragraph which helps you. And every single one of these cards says something about the aging process and about, reinventing the new you. And I think this is the card for me. It's love yourself. Whatever that person is that you're becoming, that you're transitioning into, this is the person that you have to love. It's you. So that's our Aging Beautifully deck. You can find that on the shop. But it's something I wanted to share with you because we want to offer practical advice as well as, abstract words. There's some things you can do to dig in and come through this with a smile. So again, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, and we'll talk again soon. Just have a wonderful day and take good care. Bye-bye for now.